what was the difference between the spies that Moses sent and the spies that Joshua sent. We find that Moses sent 12 spies and Joshua sent only 2 spies. Moses sent the spies Shlach lecha l'daitecha, which means when Moses asked God, can we send spies? God said, there's no reason to send spies. I'm telling you, it's a good land. You could trust me. However, if you want to send spies, you could do so. However, I'm letting you know that there's a good chance they will make a mistake. Yet Moses decided to send these spies. Why? Why did Moses send the spies even after God warned him and told him he should not do it? In contrast to Joshua, who sent the spies only after God's command. Furthermore, Moses sent 12 spies who were Nesiim, the leaders of the tribes. Joshua sent only 2 spies, but we don't know really who they were. Though the commentaries and the Talmud explain that it was Pinchas and Kalev, yet in the book of Joshua, it doesn't clearly state who they were. So what is the difference between the spies of Moses and the spies of Joshua? Furthermore, when it came to the spies of Moses, there was a big PR, big fanfare. Everybody knew about it. The entire Israel knew about it. And even the people in the land of Israel, that time called Canaan, also saw that there were people walking around. In contrast to the spies that Joshua sent, which were quiet. It was done secretly, covert. The Jews didn't know about it, and neither did the people of Canaan officially know about it, even though they found out about it. But it was supposed to be a secret mission. How do we understand these 2 things? And more importantly, how do we apply it to our daily life? Furthermore, in the Parsha, we speak about a few other concepts. We speak about the mitzvah of challah, that when you make challah, when you take flour and water and mix it together and it becomes dough, you should take off a piece and give it to the Kohen. What is the connection between the challah and the parsha? And finally, at the end of the parsha, we talk about the mitzvah of tzitzit, that every day one who wears a 4-cornered garment should put on strings, and by putting on these strings, Uzachartem Mitzvot Mitzvahs Hashem, you will remind yourself and remember all the commandments, all the 613 commandments of God. So what is the connection between the beginning of the Parsha and the end of the Parsha, the story of the spies and challah and tzitzit? When it comes to spying, when it comes to scouting out a land, there are 2 reasons. One reason could be simply to know the beauty of the land, how great the land is, to bring back the fruits and say, wow, I like this land. It has quality produce and it's healthy to grow strong human beings. This is a good piece of real estate. This is a good location to live. It's healthy, the environment is good, the people are good, the fruit is good. Let's move to that location. Then there's another reason to spy out a land, and that is simply what is the best way to conquer the land. These 2 approaches represent the approach of Moses and Joshua. Moses sent spies not to conquer the land, but to see the beauty of the land. Why not to conquer the land? Because God was going to do all the work for the Jewish people. It wasn't a problem. Moses simply sent the spies to bring back the fruit. As the spies themselves said, it's a land that flows with milk and honey. It's unbelievable, this place. Because of that, Moshe Rabbeinu's objective was that when the Jewish people go into the land of Israel, it should not simply be based on emunah, on faith. It shouldn't be based on simply blind faith, that God said, go here, so we're going to go. Moshe Rabbeinu, who was the leader of the Jewish people, who was known as the Raya Mehemda, the faithful shepherd, and his job was to bring faith and knowledge into the Jewish people. And he was the Oyev Yisrael, the lover of Jews, wanted to elevate the Jews to a level that when they go into the land of Israel, it shouldn't be by force, it shouldn't be dogmatic, it should be because of the fact that they want to go. So he wanted to create a simcha, a joy, and a chayfetz, a desire, a yearning to enter into the land of Israel. And so by the fact that the spies would come back and bring a good report and show the beautiful fruit and produce of the land of Israel, this would create a personal desire by every single Jew to enter into the land of Israel. And this was accomplished. Even though in general the Jews waited another 40 years to go into the land of Israel, at that time when they came back, the actual redemption began. In other words, a new portal was opened. There was a new frequency, a new desire and yearning for the Jewish people to enter into the land of Israel. Even though, to a certain degree, the spies sabotaged the mission because they felt the Jews were not ready yet to enter into the land of Israel, but the desire was there. In other words, the understanding of the beauty of the land of Israel was there. However, it took another 40 years for them to actually enter into the land of Israel. And so comes along Joshua and takes it to the next level. And now he sends 2 spies, and this is done in a covert mission because now no longer is God going to officially fight their battles. There had to be the participation of the individual. Therefore, the soldiers and the spies come back to tell the best way how to conquer the land of Israel. And the decision was to go through Jericho. For this was called the lock and key, and the door of the entire land of Israel. So there were 2 different levels here. Number 1 is to create a desire and yearning and love and passion to go into the land of Israel. And that was accomplished by the spies of Moses. And then there was the objective of the spies of Joshua, which was to take the proper path, the proper approach of how to best conquer the land of Israel. Furthermore, the spies of Moses was 12. The spies of Joshua were 2. What is the difference between the spies of Moses and the spies of Joshua? If the Jewish people would have conquered the land at the time of Moses, the land of Israel primarily would have been 12 different nations. 12 different tribes living together in one country. But each tribe would be totally independent of the other tribe. And because of this, there was the advantage of Joshua to send in 2 spies over the 12 spies. Because by sending in 2 spies, he now transformed the entire land into one nation, into one people, into Am Yisrael. Yes, it's true there'll be 12 tribes, but the 12 tribes are totally united as one. It's not about the Nasi for each tribe. It's not about the prince of each tribe. It's not about the individuality, but rather it's about the unity. So 12 represents how right and wrong are now internalized through the 10 attributes of Chesed, Gevurah, Tferes, implying individuality. However, the 2 represent simply right and wrong. The first 2 of the 10 commandments, which in essence was given by God, and both of these 2 commandments were given with one statement. In other words, God said one thing and we heard 2 things. Because by God, the first commandment and the second commandment were really one. For the human mind, we had to hear 2 things because we can't hear 2 things together. But God can say both together as one. In other words, to do a positive commandment, to give charity, and not to violate a negative commandment, not to steal, are really one thing. They're both equal in God's eyes. However, for us to comprehend it, we need to hear two separate things, negative and positive. By God, everything is positive. By doing a positive commandment, we create and generate positive light into the world. And by refraining from doing a negative commandment, we are creating and generating even more positive light in the world. So, Moshe and Shua are really two steps, two levels in conquering the land. The first is to create this desire and yearning, and number two is to create the achdus, the unity amongst the Jewish people. And now that these two levels were accomplished, it was the right time, it was the high time to now enter into the land of Israel. To take it a step further, it says that when the spies of Moses first started out on the mission, kishedim, they were kosher. Kishedim hoisa, they were kosher. Later, they changed their mind. Later, they said, no, we can't go into the land of Israel. But what does it mean they were kosher to begin with? Why doesn't it say tzaddikim, they were righteous? Why the word kosher? Now, it's interesting, when it comes to food, we say, is the food kosher or not kosher? And furthermore, in the Torah, there's no such thing as kosher food. In the 5 books of Moses, we don't find the word kosher. It says tamei, it's impure, it's pure. Kosher is a new word. It's a word that was created by the scholars, by the rabbis. What does kosher really mean? What does kosher stand for? Kosher is an acronym. Kimoitze shalol rav. Like finding a big treasure. That is the meaning of kosher. Why? Because when you take food and you make a bracha on food, and you realize you're eating the food not because you're simply ravenous, but you're eating the food because God commanded us to elevate the physical and make it spiritual. And that's why we make a bracha on the food, to give us the strength to be able to elevate the food. And those sparks now in the food return to God, and the food becomes transformed. This is the concept of finding a big treasure, because we are working with things that are finite, which are physical, and we transform this physical food into something which is infinite, something which is godly and spiritual. So that is the idea, in general, what we call in Kabbalah, avodas haberurim, the objective and the mission of transforming the sparks. Everything we do, from eating to business to sports, everything in the world that is not officially a mitzvah is called kosher. It's called elevating the sparks. If we do it with the right intention, if we do it with the right purpose, we have the ability to acquire tremendous wealth. And this was the objective, this was the mission, this was the purpose of the Jewish people, to enter into the land of Israel, to elevate these sparks. Now, the spies were very spiritual. These 12 spies were Nesiim. They were leaders of the tribe. They were very godly and holy, and they felt that the Jewish people needed to study more Torah, to be more knowledgeable before they go into a land which is full of challenges, of war and plowing and operating daily businesses. They said these people were slaves for 210 years. They finally received the Torah, a godly Torah. Let them learn it, let them understand it. So that was their prerogative. This was their objective. But obviously they were kosher. They understood that the ultimate mission is to go and transform these sparks. So they go into the land, they see that the food is beautiful, they come back and tell the Jews, look, it's a beautiful place, it's an amazing place, but not now, not yet. 40 years later, the Jews are totally transformed. They're ready to go in. Joshua takes them to the next level and says, now we have to unite as one. When did these spies actually leave on their mission? It was this month, the 29th day of the month of Sivan. Now, everything in Torah is exact. Why was it in the month of Sivan? Because the month of Sivan is the month that God gave us the Torah. And therefore, to go and conquer the land, you need the Torah. It can't be two separate things. When a Jew goes to war, when a Jew goes to battle, he needs to take the Torah with him. And by doing so, we have the ability to K'moitzei shalo rav, to find this treasure and transform all of these sparks. In short, the time has come to conquer the land of Israel, not only physically, but spiritually. And it's up to us to do this in two ways. Number one, to strengthen our faith in God through joy and excitement that we're about to see the coming of Mashiach. We're about to enter into the land of Israel. And number two, to be united with our fellow Jews so that there will be a strong Am Yisrael, a united Am Yisrael. And by doing so, we're going to see the ultimate blessing, the coming of Mashiach, B'mheira B'meinu, Amen.